Everyone, welcome to this training for BakeMate, and this is the spreadsheet that's going to help you manage your finances in your home baking business. And once you watch this tutorial, you're going to see how easy it is to stay organized with all of your expenses, your income, and have an at-a-glance view of the financial health of your business. And the best part is that we're going to make this really easy to understand. So follow along in this tutorial while I share my screen with you and help you get started using this BakeMate spreadsheet. All right, so what we're going to do is dive right in to the spreadsheet, which is available just below this video as a download. So you want to watch this whole video all the way through before you go and get started on your own, because you're going to get all your questions answered here in this tutorial. So what I've done here is I've created this spreadsheet that's going to help you keep track of everything all in one place. So if you're a baker who uses several different forms of payment, Venmo, Cash App, Zelle, Square, things like that, BakeMate's going to help you keep track of those. And as well, if you have several different ways of selling, farmers markets, in-person events, online orders, this is going to help you to get a really good view of how those events are going for you. So I know you're going to love it. Once we get started, let's go ahead and open up the spreadsheet. So the first tab that you're going to see is the setup page. And this is where you're going to customize all of the different bits of information that are going to be used throughout the spreadsheet. So I've put in some example categories here, but this is where you can customize them for yourself. So the first thing that you're going to see on this page is that we don't edit the colored cells. These have formulas in them, and I've done my best to protect them. But you want to be intentional about what you're doing here in the spreadsheet, and don't go and try to rearrange anything or rename anything that's in a colored cell, because that's where the formulas live. So the next thing you're going to see is a starting date, and as soon as you finish watching this video, you can get started using this. And I recommend just starting whatever month this is, so you don't have to start at the beginning of the year. If it's May when you're watching this and you're going to start keeping track of your expenses as of May 1st, then go ahead and put that as your starting date. Eventually, you will complete a spreadsheet at the end of the year, and then you'll download a new fresh copy and start a brand new spreadsheet for the following year. So this is for 1 year's worth of finances, starting wherever you are. Hope that makes sense. Okay, so we're going to then take a look at the category that says income category. And this is going to help you to break down where you make your money. So I went and put in some of the common categories, whether it's pre-order sales, which you're promoting maybe online, farmers market, where you're obviously going out to the farmers market and selling. Pop-up events and vendor events. It's just another way to categorize things that you might do throughout the year where you're setting up a booth or selling in person. Online sales. This could be a flash sale. If you're hosting a special promo and you're doing a flash sale and trying to get some baked goods sold quickly, you can record that. Or website sales. Now, what this information is going to help you to do is get a big picture, look at your business later on where you're making your money. So you can rename those, anything that you want here in this income category. And if you use most of those, but you don't have a website, it's okay to leave it there and just not track anything in website sales for now. The next column is the expense category. And the expense category is going to list all of the different buckets that your expenses are coming out of. So is it paying for the inventory to make your goods? That would be ingredients, packaging, labeling. You can put them all in one category, or you can break it down to more detail if you want. I recommend starting in bigger buckets. if sometimes people want to get too detailed and it can be overwhelming. So the name of the game here is simple. So inventory is anything that goes into making your goods. And then any other expenses that you have should fit into these categories. And if they don't, you can create another category. But I will also give you a heads up here. If you rename these categories into completely different things and it works for you, that's great. These categories will line up pretty closely with when you're doing your income tax at the end of the year. So if you're reporting your earnings as a small business, TurboTax is going to say, how much did you spend on hosting fees or office expenses or credit card processing fees? So the categories line up pretty well with the way that you're going to report them later on. Although feel free to give them more detail if you want. So those are going to be the expenses in their buckets that you're going to be spending your money on in your business. The next column over is your different accounts. And this is where you're going to keep track of where all your money is. In a perfect world, it would all be in one account. But that may be the goal, and you might not be there yet. You might be taking cash payments, Venmo payments, Square payments, PayPal, in person, you might be swiping a card or taking cash. You have a lot of different ways where people are paying you. So you want to track all of those here. And you can rename any of these accounts so that they make sense for you. This is my bank. I put in Citibank, but you can put in, your whatever your local branch is if you deposit money into there. So these are accounts that are associated with your business. And you should have your business finances separate from your personal finances, because we're going to be using these balances to look at the health of our business. And you don't want to be mixing in your personal money here. We're just looking at how well your business is performing. So this setup page is where you're going to customize it. There's a lot of tabs for bank accounts and savings accounts. And if you don't have that many, you can just leave them here with their numbers on them, but be sure and adjust those starting balances so that you're not getting misinformation in here. So let's just go ahead and say that most of those have $0 in them, and you're going to start with maybe $100 cash on hand. So you want to go in and customize each one of those starting balances for each of the accounts as of the day that you're starting your spreadsheet. Now you'll see this setup over in the tabs once we get started doing our bookkeeping. So the next tab over is income, and let me go ahead and make this a full screen for you. There we go. So that you can get a better view of the spreadsheet. So here's where we're going to be logging all of the money coming into our business. And you're just going to do it as it happens. If you log things out of order, it's completely okay, because the spreadsheet will sort by date. So if you forgot to enter a sale, you don't have to try to add a line and put it in there. If you like things neat and tidy, just use this as you go, entering each new income in the line below the one that's got information in it. So let's go ahead and enter an income item together. If you double click on this cell, you'll get a little pop-up calendar. And today is Tuesday, May 30th. I don't have a reference or an ID number, but if you do, you can track it that way. This is really helpful for online sales or people that are doing a lot of invoices, but this doesn't do anything in the calculations, so you can leave it blank if you want. Same thing with the description. It's just for your own tracking purposes. So let's say that this sale was a pre-order, and this was for Mrs. Smith. And I'm going to go ahead and mark that pre-order sale. So you see this little arrow here is a drop down, and these categories here are the ones that we personalized over in the setup. So what you see in the drop down is based on what you enter over in the setup field. So Mrs. Smith paid for a pre-order, and I took that sale from her, and the account that she paid with, she pre-ordered, and she Venmo'd me that money. So you want to go ahead and just note which account that money went into. And this was for a blueberry pie, which was $40. And so you'll enter your $40 on the income category. And then we're going to take any sales tax and report it here. So if you collect sales tax, if you live in a state or county where you collect sales tax, then you want to add that here. So the total order was $40 and I had $3.12 sales tax on there. Then it backs it out for you. So if $40 was including tax and the sales tax was $3.12, then your net income was $36.88. So this number is including tax. This is the tax itself, and this is without tax. So if you're not charging taxes, you can just leave that blank. So this is for your tracking of your sales tax, which you'll see in another tab here. So this is how you're going to enter your income. Let's do one more together. We'll go in here and say, also today I sold a cake to Mrs. Harris. You don't have to put the description in here. Again, that's just for your tracking. And this was also a pre-order. And she paid me in cash. And that cake was also $40 actually. So I didn't charge any sales tax on that. Now it'll say my net income was 40. All right, so if you have sales tax, again, you're going to list that one separately. So this is how you're going to log your income. Now let's go ahead and go over to the next tab and log some expenses. And you can see we're on the expense log because it says it up here. And on this one, we're just going to be listing everything that we buy or spend money on in order to run our business. So today I went to Walmart and I bought eggs. So the description, again, it's completely optional. It's just for you to understand what, or to remember what that was for. And eggs are part of my inventory. And I used cash to pay for that. And those eggs were $16.99 because the price is coming down. And if I paid some sales tax here, I would enter it. I'm actually just making this one up, but if I had my actual receipt, let's say that it was like $17.45 and my tax on that was $1.15. All right, so that's how you would do it if you paid taxes on your income here. You may have a retailer sales license where you don't pay income tax, you're tax exempt. It's going to be different for everybody depending on how you collect sales taxes. So this is how you're going to enter your expenses. Next, we get to the fun part where we can start to see how our business is doing, and this is the monthly overview tab. So the first thing that you want to do is select the month that you want to see the information for. Since I just started my spreadsheet in May, if I selected January, I would have no information here. So we want to make sure that we're looking at information that we've already entered. And let's take a look at what kind of data we can see about our business for the month of May. So you can see the first box shows me my cash flow. The top is my income, the bottom is my expenses, and that's always nice when your income is bigger than your expenses, but this is just at a glance. Maybe you haven't paid all your bills yet, maybe you haven't entered all your receipts, and that expenses is going to keep going, but you can see at a glance how your income and expenses are looking. We also have an income breakdown here where you can see the different categories of where you're making your money. And they're color coded. You can see the little categories off to the right. And my pre-order sales are almost half of the circle. So you can see that pre-orders are where I'm making most of my money, where my website sales are a little bit smaller. So that income breakdown gives you a good snapshot of where you're making money in your business. And then the expense breakdown is here, and you can see the same thing. We're paying for professional services and office expenses, And it doesn't show our inventory because our inventory is coming out of our cost of goods sold. So you'll see the different expenses listed there. Next, we're going to jump over to our annual review, annual overview, and you can see here that we're looking at the entire year now. So this is similar to the monthly overview, but we're looking at the whole year. And in this instance, I only have May entered, so you can see that there's only data for May. So it looks a whole lot like the monthly overview just because I only have monthly information in here. But here is where you can see the annual overview of your cash flow, of your expenses breakdown, of your income, and your monthly profits. And then below that, you would see a breakdown for each month and at a glance of how your year is going for your different income sources. So that's your annual overview, which is a great way to just pop in and get a quick look at how your business is doing. Now, the next tab is taxes, and this is going to tell you about the taxes that you have collected, and then it'll tell you if you need to pay your taxes. So the taxes that you've collected are listed over here in the income area, and this is a total of these sales taxes here. So these are just example entries, but if I collected the sales tax here, then I need to go in and make that sales tax payment to my state agency. So this is where you can go to see how much you need to pay to your state agency. And it's just going to carry it over for each month until you go ahead and update that you've remitted your taxes. That's you've turned in, you've paid your taxes. So I'm going to say that I paid $53.85 on my taxes because I went online, I made my tax payment, and so now you can see that I have a balance of 0 on my taxes. So if you're collecting sales tax, this is a great way to keep your sales tax organized and then to go ahead and know when you make that payment. And then down below here, you'll see you can make a note of which account you used to make that sales tax payment. So sales taxes are something that you're going to want to stay on top of, and this tab will help you do that. And then finally, we have our account balances. And this is where you went in and set your starting balance on those accounts from the setup tab in relation to the date that you're starting your calculator. And so every transaction that happens that you list on your expenses or your income will be reflected here on your accounts. And you can see that my cash has, I had a starting balance of 100. I had $40 come in from an order, and I had $117 worth of expenses. So now my income is 222, or my balance rather is $222.55. And then I want to go and double check that. I want to go count my cash and see if I have 222.55. If I don't, then I probably forgot to enter an expense or some income. But if it does match, then I'll go in here on this date checked and just say, yep, I did verify that that matches. And then you can remember how long it's been since you've balanced that account. On my Citibank, I didn't put a starting balance in over on my setup, but I would do the same on all of the accounts, starting with the day that you start the spreadsheet. Now, what happens if I want to take that cash and deposit it into my Citibank account? I'm going to go to my date here, and today I'm going to take and transfer from cash to my Citibank. I'm going to put my transfer in. And you can see that you can note this transfer log. So I'm going to say I'm going to take 200. So I'm going to take it out of cash and I'm going to put it in to Citibank. You're just going to use the negative to reflect that you're taking it out, and then a positive number to reflect that you're putting it in. And that's where I'm just going to keep track of the transfers in my account. Now, now that we've kind of done a quick overview here of the spreadsheet, I just want to make sure that you are feeling good to go, and you're going to go ahead and download this spreadsheet and give it a go. Start to customize it, start to enter your beginning balances, enter some expenses, and then start to play around with it. You're going to get more comfortable with it as you go. But one tip that I can share with you is that you can set a reminder to regularly update your income and your expenses. So it might not be something that you're in here every single day doing, although if you are, then that's fantastic. Those are great habits, but you want to at least touch this spreadsheet once a week. So you can find the slowest day of the week, one where you're going to sit down with your receipts and open up your banking app and just make sure that you're recording everything that happened in your business once a week inside this spreadsheet. And I'm excited to hear from you what types of questions you have and how it's going. So be sure and jump over into the Facebook group and let me know what questions you have, and good luck getting started with your BakeMate spreadsheet. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys over in the next video.